All right, everybody, I just saw the new Superman movie. I am halfway through a martini, and so let's talk about it. Superman is a 2025 film directed and written by James Gunn, starring David Crumsweat, I think is how you say his name, Rachel Brosnahan, Nicholas Hoult, and a whole host of others. It is a long-awaited film, and as someone who loves particularly the all-star Superman Grant Morrison comics of Superman, I'm not a huge comics reader, but that is one that I really resonated with when I read it coming up on close to 10 years ago. I was super excited about this film, but incredibly apprehensive. James Gunn is a director that I sometimes really like, a couple times have loved, and sometimes have had some tough stuff with. Movies like Super are not my favorite and felt very cynical and syrupy at times. Guardians of the Galaxy, for the most part, I liked all of those films, but the third one, again, didn't quite, I don't know, it just didn't all come together. All that to say is I was nervous about Superman, and guess what? I shouldn't have been nervous. This movie is fantastic. As I said in the intro, I'm just coming back from the movie theater. I don't know what other people have said about this film, so this is purely my interpretation of this film. And I want to warn you here at the beginning that I am going to get very political, because I think this film is a very political film of the moment we are having right now in the United States of America, and more generally in developed Western nations in our globe. I should say colonizing established nations in the West. And if you have a problem with that, you're probably not going to like this movie, because there's even a part in the movie where one character is trying not to get involved in a conflict and says, oh, I'm not allowed to get involved in politics. One of the other characters rightly points out, all that means is that you don't like this particular thing and you don't want to do it. Not that you don't care about politics, but that for this particular thing, you don't want to do it. So I'm just going to talk about it. I'm so sorry. Because this is not spoilers, because it's in the first third of the movie. It's part of the setup. One of the major things that gets Superman into the bind that he gets into in this film is that he has acted on the geopolitical global scene to stop a United States ally from invading a neighboring nation. Does that sound like any current geopolitical reality in our world? And I think it is so powerful to say that Superman will not stand for one nation killing thousands of civilians in another nation. That this figure of goodness, who sees the goodness in people and defends humanity, would not be a fan of that, would fight against that, is an incredibly powerful and bold move to make as a storytelling device, and B, I think is an incredible message. And James Gunn isn't done. This movie very clearly is an immigrant story about, in this case, a literal alien coming to a foreign place, but goodness, his desire to do good and do his best, even in the midst of messing up as a human, is what binds him to people, not where he's from, not who his parents are, but who he is and what he chooses to do. There are clear parallels to ICE, which is our Immigration and Customs Enforcement Group, which just got, I think, $120 billion from a bill that just passed the U.S. Congress, and now has a bigger budget just in that agency than most world armies have in various ways around the world to detain people and to erase them. Lex Luthor, a very clear villain, out of envy and fear, tries to erase people's existence. I mean, there's even a scene where he has like this other dimensional prison where he puts political prisoners or immigrants or people that the powers of the world, the governments of the world don't want to think about their existence. It is a loud movie in its morals, and its morals about the goodness of protecting humanity against evils of those in power who want to do awful things for their own agendas, for their own thoughts, for their own wealth and power. And at the end of the day, the heart of this is a good man. Superman is a good man that believes in the goodness of humanity, that people are worthwhile. There's like in fight scenes, he very pointedly doesn't even want to hurt the people that he is fighting. He doesn't want to destroy property. He's not going to just fight his way through Metropolis. He tries to preserve buildings. I mean, I I could not tell you the sense of like hope, which is what Superman should give, I had watching this film, both for the film itself, what it's talking about, its strong thoughts of identity, and sort of worldwide or artistically what it means that a director in a studio system making a superhero movie could make a movie that is this poignant for the moment that we are in. There have been, and I think now, 3 major superhero movies, some of the biggest budget films released this year. There's Thunderbirds, this movie, Superman, and Captain America Brave New World. Captain America Brave New World, in my view, is an incredibly cynical movie. Not in its theme, but in its lack of theme. It purposely sidesteps any sort of artistic expression or thematic critique or any thought that anything that happens in that movie could be a reflection of our real world. It is terrified of doing anything along those lines, even though there are very clear story elements that should have that. And thankfully, I hated that movie, and thankfully I think audiences completely rejected that. Then there's Thunderbirds, which the box office was a little mixed on Thunderbirds, but the film itself was widely praised because it had a perspective talking about mental health, and that it was the first movie I saw in a long time, especially superhero movie, where the heroes didn't fight their way out, but they supported each other towards victory. Incredible. And Superman is like this as well, a movie that is really saying something. I so hope that people will go and see it. And by the way, outside of these incredible themes, it's a really fun movie. I mean, yes, it's very comic booky, and if you bounce off sort of otherworldly things, which you probably don't because you watch my channel on sci-fi and fantasy books, but if you have like spouses and friends who don't like it, they might not love this movie. I think they'll still like it, but it won't be like a rave like I am giving to you currently. It's colorful, it's fun, it's quick, it's less than 2 hours. Doesn't take itself too seriously. It is funny. Most of the jokes really landed for me, and it is tightly packed. There's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of plot elements, but nothing is too thick that it slows down the propulsive storytelling that Gunn has. I love this movie. I'm so excited. It's my second favorite movie of the year after Sinners. Both of those films are like great genre films that also have really good heart to them and have something to say, and that's the best kind of cinema. Have you seen Superman? What do you think? Have you read All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison? And if you haven't done any of that, you should A, read the comic book, the omnibus, and B, please go see the movie. Support this. This is the kind of artistic expression in film, especially mass, big budget studio films that we want to see. So first in, last out, and up and away. Is that Superman? It's a bird, it's a plane, Superman, it's something.